Chapter 3: Entrance to the Shrine. In a few days, loneliness overcame me, and I tired of the grim faces of books. I hired a carriage and started for the house of Faris Effendi. As I reached the pine woods where people went for picnics, the driver took a private way, shaded with willow trees on each side. Passing through, we could see the beauty of the green grass, the grapevines, and the many-colored flowers of Nisan just blossoming. In a few minutes the carriage stopped before a solitary house in the midst of a beautiful garden. The scent of roses, gardenia, and jasmine filled the air. As I dismounted and entered the spacious garden, I saw Faris Effendi coming to meet me. He ushered me into his house with a hearty welcome and sat by me like a happy father when he sees his son, showering me with questions on my life, future, and education. I answered him, my voice full of ambition and zeal, for I heard ringing in my ears the hymn of glory, and I was sailing the calm sea of hopeful dreams. Just then a beautiful young woman, dressed in a gorgeous white silk gown, appeared from behind the velvet curtains of the door and walked toward me. Faris Effendi and I rose from our seats. "This is my daughter Selma," said the old man. Then he introduced me to her, saying, "Fate has brought back to me a dear old friend of mine in the person of his son." Selma stared at me a moment, as if doubting that a visitor could have entered their house. Her hand, when I touched it, was like a white lily, and a strange pang pierced my heart. We all sat silent, as if Selma had brought into the room, with her heavenly spirit worthy of mute respect. As she felt the silence, she smiled at me and said, "Many a times my father has repeated to me the stories of his youth and of the old days he and your father spent together. If your father spoke to you in the same way, then this meeting is not the first one between us." The old man was delighted to hear his daughter talking in such a manner and said, "Selma is very sentimental. She sees everything through the eyes of the spirit." Then he resumed his conversation with care and tact, as if he had found in me a magic which took him on the wings of memory to the days of the past. As I considered him, dreaming of my own later years, he looked upon me as a lofty old tree that has withstood storms, and sunshine throws its shadow upon a small sapling which shakes before the breeze of dawn. But Selma was silent. Occasionally, she looked first at me and then at her father, as if reading the first and last chapters of life's drama. The day passed faster in that garden, and I could see through the window the ghostly yellow kiss of sunset on the mountains of Lebanon. Faris Effendi continued to recount his experiences, and I listened entranced and responded with such enthusiasm that his sorrow was changed to happiness. Selma sat by the window, looking on with sorrowful eyes, and not speaking, although beauty has its own heavenly language, loftier than he voices of tongues and lips. It is a timeless language, common to all humanity, a calm lake that attracts the singing rivulets to its depth and makes them silent. Only our spirits can understand beauty or live and grow with it. It puzzles our minds. We are unable to describe it in words. It is a sensation that our eyes cannot see, derived from both the one who observes and the one who is looked upon. Real beauty is a ray which emanates from the holy of holies of the spirit and illuminates the body as life comes from the depths of the earth and gives color and scent to a flower. Real beauty lies in the spiritual accord that is called love, which can exist between a man and a woman. Did my spirit and Selma's reach out to each other that day when we met, and did that yearning make me see her as the most beautiful woman under the sun? Or was I intoxicated with the wine of youth, which made me fancy that which never existed? Did my youth blind my natural eyes and make me imagine the brightness of her eyes, the sweetness of her mouth, and the grace of her figure? Or was it that her brightness, sweetness, and grace opened my eyes and showed me the happiness and sorrow of love? It is hard to answer these questions, but I say truly that in that hour I felt an emotion that I had never felt before, a new affection resting calmly in my heart, like the Spirit hovering over the waters at the creation of the world. And from that affection was born my happiness and my sorrow. Thus ended the hour of my first meeting with Selma, and thus the will of heaven freed me from the bondage of youth and solitude, and let me walk in the procession of love. Love is the only freedom in the world, because it so elevates the spirit that the laws of humanity and the phenomena of nature do not alter its course. As I rose from my seat to depart, Faris Effendi came close to me and said soberly, "Now, my son, since you know your way to this house, you should come often and feel that you are coming to your father's house. Consider me as a father and Selma as a sister." Saying this, he turned to Selma as if to ask confirmation of his statement. She nodded her head positively and then looked at me as one who has found an old acquaintance. Those words uttered by Faris Effendi Karami placed me side by side with his daughter at the altar of love. Those words were a heavenly song which started with exultation and ended with sorrow. They raised our spirits to the realm of light and searing flame. They were the cup from which we drank happiness and bitterness. I left the house. The old man accompanied me to the edge of the garden, while my heart throbbed like the trembling lips of a thirsty man.